Is mentioned in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the three Gospels, where it talks about what happened here, where the Gospel says 6 days later of what? They were at Caesarea Philippi. 6 days later, Jesus came here with three of his disciples. Who were they?
No,
John,
Peter, James, and John.
Peter, James, and John. And came up to a high mountain. And here, Peter was tired. He was the oldest among the disciples. So he reached the top tired. And he was sleepy. But all of a sudden, they were looking at Jesus. He turned into white. His face looked like the sun shining. And two important figures from the Old Testament appeared to him and started chatting, talking to him. Who were they?
Elijah, and Moses.
Moses and Elijah. And you know what they represent? You know what does it mean, those two figures? Moses represents what?
The law.
The law. Yes, he brought the Ten Commandments, you remember? And Elijah represents the
Elijah.
prophets. Jesus is the new law, and he is the fulfillment of all the prophecies of the Old Testament. So those two major figures are so important. The cat is not gonna tell you anything here. So
He's welcoming us. He's just welcoming us.
yeah, listen to me to understand the things that happened here. Peter had to say something. Imagine, out of the shock of the view that he saw, especially Elijah and Moses, and he said, what? Lord, if you want to say something and nothing comes to mind, you say anything, right? Lord, it's nice to be here. Okay, give me something better than that. Okay, how about if I make 3 tents or 3 booths? One for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. We celebrate the Transfiguration Day in which month? August. Right?
August.
6 August, right? August 6. We celebrate the Transfiguration on August 6. Very close to Sukkot. Sukkot is next week, like this feast coming. So Peter was busy planning what to do, a booth, to eat, things like that. So when we go to Jerusalem, the hotel there, you will see that they prepare a booth outside the dining room for the religious Jews who come to the hotel, so they can go and eat outside, not in a concrete roofed building, but outside. So most probably Peter and the disciples were busy where we shall build that tent, how we can prepare it, from where to bring the materials, material things that he was thinking of. And that's why most probably he said that to Jesus. How about if I make 3 tents, not one? One for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. But nobody was there to answer them. They were in a different level.
He's looking food.
Carlos? Anyway, and then all of a sudden they heard a sound coming from heaven, saying what?
This is my son.
This is my beloved son, whom I am well pleased. Listen
To him.
to him. We read somewhere else that this happened somewhere else, where the baptism, yes, where the same sound of the Lord the Father said, this is my beloved son whom I am well pleased. Here, the additional thing is listen to him. So after the end of the transfiguration in Greek is what? Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. Different form of things. Why is that? Because Jesus here all right, so the transfiguration is so important because Jesus here showed his disciples his divinity. You know, he lived with them like a man.
Yes.
He ate, he slept, he got tired, he got hot, sweating, cold in winter, normal, like them. They knew he had some power. He was able to heal people. He was able to walk on water. He was able to calm the storm. He raised the widow's son from the dead. But they couldn't actually comprehend the divinity of Jesus. For that reason, here Jesus showed them his divinity. But he asked them one thing: don't mention this to anyone until after the resurrection. Until after the resurrection. So this is the importance of this place, the Transfiguration. Now, we reach this beautiful mountain. We see lots of ruins outside.
Tabor.
This is all ruins from the Crusader period, 900 years old. And this was a Benedictine monastery here. My God, who's insisting? Wait, I have to answer this. Can you wait a second? كيفك حبيبي؟ رحت على رامي ورمزي. ما رحتش؟ رمزي في الوزارة اوريدي عنده اجتماع التسعة. تقدر تقول تترن رمزي بس؟ انت قريب؟ على الوزارة؟ روح اذا هم مش مبينين الساعة 10 روح خلص انت روح معهم. ما انا عارف انا بدي ابهدلهم بعد. طب خلص روح. خلص اذا ما اجوش روح انت. يلا. اوكي اذا هو عنده اجتماع ثاني روح. يلا. بالضبط. All right, so again, we are on top of an important military base. Not only holy place, but important military base. And that's why everybody was interested in having a military post here during the history. Why? Because later on, I'll give you time, go up to the balcony there, and you will see as far as Mount Carmel and as far as Jordan. So we saw almost the same view from Mount Precipice, if you remember. So you can see and cover the whole area, and that is important for, at that time, no radar, so eyes, you know, CCTV. So that's the importance of this. That's why when Saladin defeated the Crusaders at the Horns of Hattin. You remember we passed by it yesterday, and I pointed the site of the battle where they lost Jerusalem in 1187. Also, they lost control. After the end of that battle, Saladin turned his face towards Mount Tabor, destroyed the Benedictine monastery that we see here, and banned Christians from coming to this mountain for so many years. Until one good Pasha, you know what's a Pasha, the governor of the mountains of Lebanon, and Galilee was part of Lebanon at the time of the Ottomans. His name is Emir is Prince, Emir Fakhreddin al-Ma'ni. He was a Druze man, but he was so tolerant towards especially the Christians. And he gave the mountain to the Franciscans, gave the house of the Virgin Mary that was in destruction to the Franciscans. That's why there is a big plate. I don't know if you paid attention when we entered in Arabic, thanking Emir Fakhreddin Mani for his generosity, giving some of the holy places for the Christians back to the Franciscans. This place and the house of the Virgin Mary in Nazareth. And the Franciscans controlled this place since that time. We're talking about the 19th century. Then they wanted to build a church. And who is better than our friend that I mentioned, Antonio Barluzzi? We can see his frame is there on the wall. You see that figure? The man?
Okay, a little
Now
face.
that is Antonio Barluzzi. I told you he built how many churches? 13. Thank you. 13. Close. Last week I had a group, also Filipinos from Canada, and you know, anytime I used to ask numbers, for example, how many, things. There was one lady inventing numbers. I don't know from where they brought the numbers, but it was so funny just to keep tracks of her count. For example, the number of false prophets of Baal, there were 450, but she said 384. Close enough. So anyway, that is the importance of the people. So Antonio Barluzzi built this church in 24. So in 2 years, in 2024, it will be 100 years old. And you know, for sure you want to know a little bit more about his architecture, because every church he built, there is a story behind it. And I will try to tell you. You know, this man is so unique. He was a young architect at the time of the Ottoman Empire, the beginning of the 20th century, 1906, 1907. It was not yet been the beginning of the First World War. And he was hired to build a hospital for the Italians in Jerusalem. So I built the hospital. It's still standing till today. If we pass by that area, I'll point it out. So, you know, Italians and the Franciscans, most of them were Italians. So I used to go and pray, or maybe they met somewhere in a bar. And then one monk, Franciscan priest, asked him, "You are Italian like us, and we can get you permission to build a church for us. Can you donate some time from your time to build?" No, I'm busy. He refused completely. He refused. He finished his job and went back to Italy. Maybe his conscience was, in the back of his head. He had a dream of building churches, not one, in the Holy Land. All of a sudden, he woke up, decided to leave Italy, took the boat because at that time there were no airplanes. You know, he took the boat maybe 1 month till he reached the Holy Land and offered to do the job for the Franciscans. That's why I said he put 13, not 1, 13. He dedicated his life and not charging 1 penny for any of the churches that he built. And when he died in 1960, after finishing, he had plans, sketches to build the Church of the Annunciation, but he died before. Then all works stopped, and actually that's why they had to look for a new architect that refused to use the plans of Antonio Berluzzi for Nazareth. He put the new plans. That was the decision at that time. But anyway, through his architecture, he decided to explain the stories of the gospel. And here he actually fulfilled the wish of St. Peter by building the main church dedicated to Jesus. And he built 2 small chapels, one on each side. This one is dedicated to Elijah. That one is dedicated to Moses. When you go inside, you will see things that will tell you it belongs to him. And of course, this is not the first church. So there is ruins of a Byzantine church, Crusader church with the Benedictine monastery, and the modern 20th century, 1924 church. I'm going to give you enough time here to enjoy. Visit the church. If there is a mass, I think there is a mass. I hear.
They were singing.
So what's the time now?